we are beginning the practical on ABC. This practical has been prepared by Camille Roux, the gentleman I showed you the picture yesterday. So I think it's quite a challenge to do a practical on ABC, and I hope it's going to work well. So first I am going to do a little introduction, and quickly we are going to enter the command line. I hope it's going to work. And in any case, it's very unlikely that we will have the time to do the full analysis. So the main objective is to show you that it's not so difficult to do ABC. It's not so to remove your fear. Okay, so this is the first objective. The second objective is as ABC is based on simulation, it's to make you feel comfortable of doing simulations, because in population genetics it's always useful to try to simulate a scenario to confront to the data, even if you do not use an ABC statistical framework. So in many population genetics paper, they have an hypothesis, and to verify it, they simulate the hypothesis and see if they can reject it or not. So the ABC framework put a statistical package on this strategy, but you do not need always to use ABC. Okay, so ABC is a general statistical method you can use in many areas, not only population genetics. But today I will present an example with speciation genetics and the reconstruction of the history of gene flow, as I presented yesterday. So basically, when population diverge, so here you have, it does not work. Here you have 4 chromosomes in the population and 4 SNPs. So it's an ancestral population that's split into 2 daughter populations, and so they have exactly the same composition at the moment of the split. And then, because of drift, you will have modification in allele frequency. So the first SNP is shared, the polymorphism is shared between the 2 populations. Here you have a fixation of the derived allele in population 1, but this SNP is still polymorphic in population 2. Here you have the reverse. It's the ancestral allele that is fixed in population 1, and the polymorphism is present in population 2. And here you have differentially fixed alleles. The ancestral allele in population 1 and the derived allele in population 2. So basically, these 3 kinds of polymorphisms are the data we are using to reconstruct the history of gene flow. So shared polymorphism, polymorphism in population 2. You can have also polymorphism in population 1 only, and fixed difference between populations. So this can be presented by the joint site frequency spectrum, as I quickly explained yesterday. So if we use this first SNP, the frequency is 2/4 in population 1 and 2/4 in population 2. So this SNP is in this cell of the joint SFS. This one is in this cell, and you have fixed differences in the corner here or here, depending on where the derived allele is fixed. Okay. So this is a representation of the joint SFS just after the split between the two populations. So you see that many SNPs have the same frequency in the two populations. So they are on the diagonal of the GSFS. And with time, you have a drift and fixation of alleles in the two populations, little by little. And at the end, you have only fixed differences and private polymorphism in the two populations. So this is to illustrate that under a simple model of divergence without gene flow, the GSFS contains the information of the time of divergence. Okay. So maybe I don't have to explain this again, but so you remember yesterday that one of our aim is to account for the heterogeneity of gene flow in the genome, because at the beginning you expect homogeneously high gene flow at the beginning of the divergence. In the middle you expect heterogeneous gene flow with island of genetic differentiation and neutral regions that exchange gene a lot. And at the end you have homogeneously low gene flow. So can we discriminate between these two models? So we use genetic data to evaluate different models on the basis of the GSFS observed in the data and the GSFS simulated under different kinds of scenarios. Okay. So this was the introduction. So how does it work? There are 3 steps in the ABC framework. The first step is to do simulations, and it's what we are going to do now. And maybe we'll have a little time to do step 2 and step 3. So it's actually I can use this on the screen. I have to. Maybe I can use this because I like to show. Okay, so step 1 simulation. So you have to design a model. So today the model are the 4 models I showed you yesterday: isolation without gene flow, isolation with gene flow, secondary contact, or ancient migration. You have to have the distribution of the parameter a priori. So usually there are uniform distribution between 2 extreme values. Okay. So you take the parameters at random following the prior distribution, and you simulate data sets with a simulator, a simulating software. And from the simulations, you compute the summary statistics, so that describes the data set. So it can be the GSFS, the matrix of allele frequency in the 2 populations. Actually, what we are using is just the 4 categories I just explained. Shared polymorphism, polymorphic in population 1 but fixed in population 2, polymorphic in population 2 but fixed in population 1, or fixed differences between populations. It's a summary of the GSFS. We include many other summary statistics that I will describe after. So the first step, you choose a model, you simulate, you compute a description of the simulation output, the summary statistics. Then you have to compare simulations with the observed dataset. So you compute you compute the same summary statistics as here on your observed dataset. So basically it will be the number of shared polymorphisms, the number of fixed differences, the number of polymorphic in population 1 and monomorphic in population 2, and vice versa. Then you compute the Euclidean distance between simulated and observed statistics. I'm going to show a graph after. So this is a measure of how different are the dataset simulated under the scenario and your observed dataset. The bigger is the Euclidean distance, the less likely is the model simulated, and the shorter is the Euclidean distance, the more you have been able to obtain the same summary statistics as your observed dataset. And you have a criteria, there are many, I will not enter in the detail, to retain the simulations that produced the smallest Euclidean distance. Okay? So maybe here I should explain there are two objectives in model fitting. You have the objective of estimating the parameter of the model, the population size, gene flow, etc., the mutation rate, I don't know, the divergence time. This is one objective. Another objective is to compare models, to see what is the best model. As I explained yesterday, our models are too simple to be the true model that we have in nature. In nature, the history of populations is always far more complex than what we intend to modelize. So I'm not I do not like a lot the interpretation of the estimation of the parameters. So this is not what I am going to explain today. What is more useful is model comparisons, because it allows you to test an hypothesis. Do we detect gene flow during the divergence? Do we detect heterogeneity of gene flow in the genome? You can answer to precise questions. So basically, to do model comparisons, you just keep all the simulations, the cloud of simulated pseudo datasets that are the closest to the observed dataset. Usually you keep 1,000, 2,000 simulations that retrieve the closest Euclidean distance. And you look at the proportion of the two models you compare in this cloud of points. If all the 2,000 closest simulations are produced by the model strict isolation, for example, and the IM model is not represented in this cloud, you support the strict isolation model. Okay? So it's very simple. Yeah. Huh? Okay. So the third step is to compare models and estimate parameters. Okay. So this is a simple example. Here you have many simulations of one population. It's what we are going to begin with. One Pomictic population, a single Pomictic population. The statistic is S, the number of segregating sites. And here you have the parameter theta, n, the population size, times u, the mutation rate. And all the black points are the simulation. So the prior of theta is between 10 to the minus 3 to 100, uniformly distributed. And you produce all this simulation. You see here that the parameter is uniformly distributed. Then you have your observed summary statistic. In this case, it's 25 segregating sites in the data. So you see that theta should be somewhere around here. You have a threshold. This is an arbitrary point of ABC. But trust the statistician, it's not very important, this arbitrary threshold. You keep only the simulations that have the shortest Euclidean distance, and you obtain the posterior distribution of theta, here in red. Okay? And if we had two models, you would have two color of points. And you can choose the model that puts the highest number of points around your observed summary statistics. Okay, so this was the introduction. Now let's practice. So I'm going to present three softwares to generate everything you need to do the analysis. You first have a software that generates the priors. It's simply to sample in uniform distributions all the parameters of your model. Then you use the parameters you sampled in your prior distribution in a simulating software which is MS, the Hudson's simulating software, which is widely used in population genetics. So it allows to simulate sequences by backward coalescence simulation. So it's very, very fast under a given scenario. And you use the output of MS to calculate the summary statistics. And to calculate the summary statistic, you are going to use MSCalc. It's a little software that allows to calculate the summary statistic, the main of which are the number of shared polymorphisms, the number of fixed difference, the number of polymorphisms in population 1, and the number of polymorphisms in population 2. And from this, we can go to the R package called ABC that allows to do the third step, model comparisons and the estimation of the parameters of the model. Okay.
Is
Yeah.
that MS valid to generate also microsat data or only for sequences?
It's only for sequences. Yeah.
Is there an equivalent that you would recommend for that microsat data?
It's a good question.
But there is a version of MS that allows you to produce microsat data.
Yeah. There are some version of MS. For example, today we are going to use MS SAM, which is with some differences. But yeah, I'm not aware. I do not analyze microsatellite data, so I know that DIABC simulate microsatellite data. SimCoal as well, but I never used them. In this context of reconstructing the history, microsatellite data are not ideal because you need to assume a mutation model, and we know that microsatellites deviate from the assumed models, and yes, sequence data are much more suitable for this kind of analysis. Sequence or SNP. You can simulate SNP with MS. This is easy. Okay, so we can start now. So you are all in the Ubuntu platform now. So you are going to open your what's the English? Your command line window. So the little blackboard on the left. Who doesn't know Linux and command line? Can you raise your hand? Okay. So to begin with, I'm going to start. Okay. Okay. So we are in Ubuntu, and you open this, the terminal. Okay. And basically, we are going to put all the command lines, and I'm going to explain what means the, if I can, what means the command line. Okay. So you open this, the terminal, and this is the part that is the most informatic. After it's population genetics, but we have to install all the software we need for the analysis. So you have to take care. Bureau is a French word, so for you it's desktop with in English. Okay, so I think so. In your desktop, you already have a folder which name is TP ABC. It's already there. Does everybody have TP ABC in the desktop? Yeah? Okay. So in this folder, you have all what you need to do the analysis. Okay? So you can download it on your USB key to do homework tonight or next week. Okay. So you don't have to do the first line. Do the second line. It's just to go to the desktop. CD desktop, not bureau, desktop. Okay. CD desktop. Okay. So you do not need to uncompress the archive. It is already uncompressed. You do not need to do this. Then you move. So it's wrong here. It's not TP. It's TP_ABC. The name of the folder is TP_ABC. So you type CD TP_ABC. Okay? I see eyes like this. You just. So you're already there, okay? So now you are in the folder TP_ABC. Everybody is in this folder? So the folder name is TP. The little veg. Huh? On a Spanish keyboard is so the second line is a useful trick. Is just to record the pathway in a variable which is x. It's because now we won't have to take care in which folder we are. We have the pathway recorded in the variable x. The pathway that go to the folder TP-ABC. Okay? So each time you are going to use x, it will mean I go to the folder TP-ABC. It's useful. You don't have to move to folders every time. So everybody is in the folder TP-ABC. Everybody recorded the pathway in the variable x. Okay? Then we have to prepare the software we are going to use. The first software we have to prepare is software PriorGen. Okay? So this line changes the mode of PriorGen to be an executable. Okay? So you simply have to write this. All.
Do we need the previous command line? The next import over?
Yes, you need it. You see, we call x here. X.
Okay.
X. We use x. You should be already in the TP ABC folder. So what happened to me the previous hour is that I have to do this 2 times for it to work. I don't know why, but if you have an error, you do it again and it should work. It's an informatic thing. You have to say to Linux, PriorGen is an executable. It's software. Otherwise, you call PriorGen and it does not work. It does not understand it is a software. So you can do like me and open the PDF file. Oh my God. And have the terminal here, so you can copy the line. Okay? You'll have on your screen the command line. So the next line is to link PriorGen with user bin. It's again an informatic trick to make the software to do what we want it to do. Okay. So Linux is going to ask for your password with the command line sudo. So the password is genomics. Okay. Oh, so you already have done everything. A good student. So of course, people who are familiar with Linux have probably finished the whole page, and those who are not familiar with Linux are still in the first lanes. So genomics. So you do the same thing for MS-Calc. So remember that PriorGen is a software that generates the prior. MS-Calc is a software that calculates the summary statistics. And MS-NSAM is a simulating software. So you have to do all this line. Once PriorGen is computed, you do the same thing for MS-Calc. So you go to the MS-Calc folder, you compile MS-Calc. So using this line, you type gcc *c space -o space, you type exactly. Yeah, it's a copy practical. We are going to play with MS, the simulating software. And so the first command is simply to simulate a single population. So you have 10. The first argument is the sample size. You simulate a sample of 10 sequences. 1 is the number of simulations. We do just one simulation. And T is the argument for theta, for NU. And so we simulate a population of a theta of 10. So you do this, and you are going to obtain this result. So it gives you the number of segregating sites obtained in this simulation. Here it's 51. You have the position of the SNP and the sequence. The reason is that we are going to use simulation with recombination. So it's between 0 and 1. It's a proportion of the sequence. And here you have the 10 sequences obtained, with 0 being the ancestral allele and 1 the derived allele. So for example, for the first SNP, we have just 1 derived allele and 9 ancestral alleles. The same thing for the second SNP, etc., etc. So theta is 4 NU, and L is the size of the sequence. It's the theta of the gene. It's not the theta per nucleotide. It's the theta of the gene. We cannot do simpler than this simulation. So in this second simulation, we simulate 2 populations with gene flow, but no divergence time. It's the equilibrium model, migration drift equilibrium. So once again, we simulate 10 sequences, one time, with a theta of 10. And here it means an island model, I, with 2 DIMs, two populations. In one population, we sample 5 sequences. In the second population, we sample 5 sequences. And NM, the migration rate times the population size, is 0.5. So a low migration rate. Okay? So doing this, we obtain again 5 sequences, 10 sequences. The first 5 are the 5 sequences of the first population, and the 5 at the end are the sequence sample in the second population. Okay? So here you can see you can use maybe a lower migration rate. You can put 0.1, for example, and you'll see much more differences between the 2 populations. But here you already see the difference between the 5 first sequences and the second 5 sequences. So of course you can redo the simulation, and you will always obtain different values, different SNPs, the different number of SNPs. So you can call more than one simulation by putting 2 or 5, for example, here, and you will have 5 simulations. It will be 5 output of the model with the exact same parameter. Okay? So then we can simulate one of the scenarios we are interested in, which is isolation without gene flow. So again, we have the number of sequences simulated, 10, with one simulation. Theta is 10 again. We have an island model of 2 DIMs. So I is 2. It means 2 populations. Someone asked me yesterday for more populations. So you can put here more than 2. You can put 3, 4, and simulate more populations. 5 and 5 are the 2 sample size of the 2 populations. 5 sequence sampled in population 1, 5 sequences sampled in population 2. 0 is a migration rate. So we simulate no migration, strict isolation. And here, this argument, Ej is the time of split of the ancestral population in n generation. So tau, the divergence time, here it's 1.5. Okay? And 2 and 1 is the direction of the split. So here it's population 1 that split here into population 2. It's important when you ask for different population size. For this simulation, it's not important because we do not modify the population size. So by default, it keeps the same population size. Okay? So if you put 1 first and 2 at the second place, you will have the reversed. The reasoning is a backward coalescence. So you have the 2 populations and 1.5 n generation back in time. You have population 2 that go to population 1. Okay? So this command line simulates isolation without gene flow. And here you see that without gene flow, you obtain many fixed differences between populations. Because everything coalesces within its own population. So you begin to see fixed differences here, or high frequency of derived alleles. So much more differentiated population. Okay? Okay, so here are the 3 scenarios we want to simulate. And the command line are here. Okay? So you see that it's not always easy to make MS simulate what you want. You have to play with it. 1 hour is not enough. You have to. But you have the command line of the scenario I presented yesterday. So you will see that TBS will be used to call the value of the parameter in a text file that will be generated by PriorGen. But for example, for the I don't know how to show it. So here you have the secondary contact model, which begin somewhere here. So to simulate a secondary contact model, first you put the sample size. So it depends on your data. You have to say, I sampled 10 sequences in population 1 and 8 in population 2. So this first argument would be 18 in this case. Here it's the number of simulation, 80,000. So this is not something that we call in a program. It is directly in the command line. Theta, that is the mutation rate scaled by the population size. R, the recombination rate, that is called in a text file. An island model with 2 DIMs, the sample size of DIM1, the sample size of DIM2. No migration, because it's for the period before the secondary contact. Migration from 1 to 2, you have a value. Migration from 2 to 1, you have a value. The population size of population 1, a value. The population size of population 2, a value. The time of the secondary contact when you allow gene flow, again a value. The time of it's the time of split forward in time, so it's the time of mixture back in time, Ej, a value from 2 to 1. So it's here that it's important to take care if you put 2 to 1 or 1 to 2 according to N1 and N2 and what is the ancestral population size. En is the scaled population size because actually here it's a ratio of population size. And you put everything in a text file, which are the output of the simulation. Okay. So with MS, you can call the help, and you have the description of all the arguments, theta, r, ej, m, n, all the parameters of the model you want to simulate. Okay. So with these 4 command lines, you have the 4 models I presented yesterday. So secondary contact, here it's isolation without gene flow. So you see that, yeah, it's basically the same command line, but we modify the input so that migration is always 0 in the text file. Okay? So now I'm going to explain how to generate the prior. A question? No? Okay? So we continue? Yeah? So here it's what I explained already, that you can do 2 simulations, to have one simulation, a second simulation. Yes, you can type this line just to see how fast it is. So when we do 100,000 simulations, it takes only 2 seconds. That's very, very fast. Okay. And I just did it previously, and it was even faster here. So do it, please. Verify that it's really fast. So you type time, MSN SAM, 10, 100,000, a theta of 2. And you can verify how fast it is. Okay, so it's the advantage of coalescent simulation. It's very fast because you only simulate the genealogy that happened in the history of the gene you sampled. Okay. Okay, so now how to explore the parameter space. You can sample the parameter in a distribution. So here it's just to show you how you can sample a uniform distribution. So you can ask for 10 value by this line. You ask for 10 value and you sample in a uniform distribution between 1 and 10. So theta will be sampled between 1 and 10. And you put this in a prior file, and when you ask the prior file, you have all the 10 value of the uniform distribution here. Okay? So you can use this, and after you can run MS with the TBS argument. Okay? So it uses the file, prior file we have just generated. So here you are going to do 10 simulation, and each time TBS will be the value generated previously. So with this command line, you do 10 simulation with 10 different values of theta, theta being sampled in a uniform distribution between 1 and 10. Okay? So here it's the way of doing it by hand. You don't want to do it by hand. So this is what you expect to obtain, 10 simulation. So the first simulation is with the first value of theta, 4. So you see that in my case, 4 was the first value, sampling in the uniform distribution. Then you have the second simulation with the second value of theta, 5. You see that 5 is the second value, etc., etc. And each time you have the number of segregating sites, their position on the sequence, and the number of sequences you simulated. Okay? So to automatize the procedure, we can call prior gen, that is dedicated to generate the sampling of the parameters in the prior distributions. Okay. So prior gen has 2 argument files. One file is BP file. It describes the characteristic of your data set. So here you have one example. It's the data set we should use if we have time, but I think we are too late. So you have one line of description of the file. Here it's species 1 is bidule. Actually it's Mytilus edulis. Species B is truc. Actually it's Mytilus geoprovincialis. Ref is the reference population size. It's an arbitrary value. And mu is the mutation rate we have chosen for the analysis. So in this case, we decided to fix the mutation rate, which has been obtained with a comparison with a distant species and calibrated by a molecular clock. But if you don't know the mutation rate, you can add it as a parameter, but it adds one more parameter in your analysis. So after you have, so it's just a description, you have the length of the loci. So here there are just 8 loci. The first loci is 608 base pair, the second one 788, 81, etc. Here you have the sample size in population 1, so in species A, bidule, and here the sample size in species B, truc. So for the first locus, we have 20 sequences in truc and 20 sequences in bidule. The same for locus 2, and for locus 3, we just add 18 sequence in species A and 14 sequence in species B. So it gives you the structure of your data set, what you really have in your data set. So I continue. Here you have the value of theta that we are going to simulate for the 8 genes, but it's not the observed theta. It's just using this mutation rate. That's why the value is just a product of the size of the locus times the mutation rate. Okay? But it's because we configure the simulation on the population size, not on the product of the population size and the mutation rate. So it's something you need to understand and to play with. And here it's the recombination rates. We assume the population recombination rate, so it is NE times R, the recombination rate, is the same for all the genes. So as a consequence, it's the same value as theta. So NR is equal to NU here. So you have the exact same value on the last lines. It's because of this assumption. So here you have the explanation of the line of this text file. Okay? And the other file, argument file, is called arg file. You enter all the characteristics of your model. So the number of replicates you do, the number of simulations, the model chosen, the type of migration. So here it's heterogeneous gene flow. You can choose homogeneous gene flow. You can allow or not a symmetrical gene flow. So the same migration rate in the two directions or two migration rates. Here it's the value, the extreme value of the prior distribution for the population size of population 1. So it's a uniform prior between 0 and 20. Here it's the same for species 2, a uniform prior from 0 to 20, and the prior of the ancestral population size from 0 to 20. Here it's the boundary of the prior of alpha and beta, the two parameters of the beta distribution used to simulate heterogeneous gene flow. Tau is the divergence time, assumed to be uniform between 0 and 25. NM1 is NM in one direction and NM2 in the other direction. And again, a uniform prior between 0 and 40. Okay? So this gives to the program PriorGen how to sample in the prior distribution. So you have to give values to these arguments. Okay? So you can ask for the help of PriorGen that explain all the arguments. And you can type directly in the command line the argument. And then you don't have to call the arg file. Okay, so maybe you can try this. So it's called PriorGen, using as BP file a file that I call BP file, which is already in your folder. And as an arg file, it's called arg file ISO. So ISO is isolation without gene flow, strict isolation. So if you type this command line, you will have all all the parameters you need to do the simulation. Okay? So here you have, each time you have 8 lines that correspond to the 8 locus. So we are going to simulate locus 1, locus 2, locus 3 to locus 8. And then we do it again and again and again, a high number of times. So here you can see the parameters that are shared between loci. You have the same value 8 times. And here you have the parameters that are not shared between loci. So here it is taken in BP file. It is the sample size of each locus. So remember that locus 1, the sample size was 40. Locus 2, the sample size was 40. Locus 3, the sample size was 32. Okay? And here you have the sample size in population 1 and in population 2. So 2020 for locus 1, 2020 for locus 2, 1814 for locus 3. And each time this is repeated 8 times, 8 times, 8 times the number of simulation you want. If you do 1 million simulations, you will have 8 million of lines. Okay? Here it's theta, the population recombination rate, the size of the sequence in BP file. Here it's 0 because it's you have no gene flow. So if you call another model, you will have value of NM sampled in a uniform distribution. So it's and here you have all the parameters that are shared between loci. What is shared? It is divergence time. So I don't remember the order, but I think it's the first one. So here we sampled in a uniform between 0 and 25 the value 3.8. And here we sampled the value 16.2. Okay? And we do the simulation with that. And here you have the beta, the parameter of the beta distribution. So to simulate heterogeneous gene flow. And what I forgot, it's written in the position. So NM should be 0. We have alpha, beta. Ah, yes, the population size, of course. We have the 3 population size, 1, 2, 3, and the alpha and beta. Okay? So now that we know how to generate the prior, we can put MS after prior gen. So with this line, we call first prior gen with the 2 files, BP file and ARC file, that generates the parameters. Seed is just for the random numbers. Not important. You put the result of prior gen in a text file, which is called prior.txt. Okay? Then this is a pipeline. You call another program. The other program is MSNSAM. And here you have the command line to simulate isolation without gene flow. And so each time MSNSAM needs a value for TBS, it looks in prior.txt the value it needs for the simulation. And it can do all the simulation like that, automatically. So you have all the simulation ready for the analysis. And you can put the output of MS in a text file. Okay? Which is not a good idea, but you can. because it takes a lot of space on your computer. Okay, I continue. So the next step is to compute the summary statistics. So to do this, we use MS-Calc. So the summary statistics are basically the number of segregating sites and the variance of this number between loci, the number of fixed differences between population and its variance, the number of polymorphisms in A and its variance, the number of polymorphisms in B and its variance, the number of shared polymorphisms and its variance. And here you have plenty of standard statistics in population genetics. The pi, the nucleotide diversity, theta, the Watterson estimator of theta, the Tadjim D, the divergence between population, also called DXY, the net divergence, sometimes called pi d. So it's the divergence when you exclude the diversity within population, FST, and the correlation between the diversity in population 1 and the diversity in population 2. So this is all the summary statistics that are going to be computed in the simulation and in your data set. So MS-Calc needs two input files. One is a file that describes your loci. So it's called spinput.txt. You have it in your folder already for the data set of 8 loci. And the second one is MS output. So here is the tricky part to do ABC, which is it's not a good idea to keep all the results of the simulation in files. It's better to calculate the summary statistics, keep only the summary statistic, and erase the output of MS. Okay? So to do this, you have to call this pipeline. So this pipeline called first prior gen, which allows to obtain all your parameters for your simulations. Then you call MS to do the coalescent simulation. From this, oh no, it's not the good line. So here you just put the result of MS in a file, and after you calculate the summary statistic with MS-Calc. So I was wrong. It's where is the? No. So it's in the script. In the script put in your folder, you have the way of not keeping all the output of MS. You are all completely lost, I think, now. So you have a script called abc.sh in the terminal, and you will have all the analysis that is going to be done automatically without doing nothing. Okay, so once we have done all this work, so basically it's to do plenty of simulations and to obtain plenty of summary statistics from the simulation, we need to compare the simulations and the true data. And to do this, we used the R package ABC. So you have to install the R package by this command line. Install the package ABC. You also have to charge the library ABC by typing this line. So you have two important functions in ABC. One is to select the model between several, and the other one is to estimate the parameter of the model. So here we are going to use only the first one, post PR, post PR. Okay. So post PR, using all the summary statistics we have generated by simulations, and attribute a posterior probability for each model. So I gave you the script that do all the analysis automatically, abc.sh. It compares these two models, the model of isolation without gene flow and the secondary contact model. And that's it. So if you install the ABC package and then you type abc.sh, you should have all the analysis that is going to be done. So for unknown reason, the access is denied to the script, but you can open the script in a text file, you copy it, and you cut it, you paste it in the terminal, and it's going to work. I don't know why the access is denied, but so if I remember, we simulate 2,000 simulations, and as these two models are, the strict isolation model is very unlikely, it's sufficient to have a strong support for the secondary contact model. So in muscles, we have a very, very strong support for gene flow. We cannot generate the data with a model of isolation without gene flow. Okay, so maybe I should conclude now. So the idea is not to use a script and to use it without doing nothing. When you are doing ABC analysis, you have to take some time. First, to well describe your data. So you have to describe your data, the number of loci. It can be a very big data set. Here it's a small data set, it's easy, but if you have 1,000 loci, it's something else. So you have to describe the characteristic of your data because it's what you are going to simulate. Then you need to acquire some skills with a simulator, MS. It's not difficult, but it takes some time. 1 hour is not sufficient. I would say from half a day for the quicker to 2 days, you should be able to simulate what you want. Even me, I never remind all the arguments. Always I need to take some time to understand the command line, what is this parameter, what is this parameter, what is this parameter. In any case, it's very important that you do this effort because you need to know your model. You need to know what the change in a parameter, what the consequence in your analysis. You cannot say, oh, I test this model against this model. You have to be able to say, this model has this characteristic, is going to have this consequence on on the pattern observed, this model has this alternative characteristic, and you expect this on your genetic patterns. Okay? After you have the ABC analysis in itself that we did not discuss today in the R package. For the parameter estimation, it's quite, it takes some time to understand what is behind. But to test different models, as I showed you, it's quite easy. It's just you choose the model that produces the smallest Euclidean distance between the pseudo dataset and the observed dataset. Okay? So that's it. So if you want to apply this method to your own data, at least you need to be able to create the BP file. Prior gen, you can use the argument file I gave you, but it's better if you take time to understand what is behind. MS, you can use the command lines we gave you, but you can explore different models. You can use a third, fourth populations if you are interested for more complex models. And that's it. So I know it's not always easy to. I would not like you to be scared to use this method. It's you have all the command lines. You just have to type, and it should work. So at least we have a few computers in this room who managed to do the analysis. So it's not that complex.